Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. I appreciate everyone that's able to come in during the lives. We are here for Real Housewives of Potomac, and they're in season 10. This is episode 8. Good morning, Sandra P's Gen Extra and chat. That is Sharon Gobbo. Thank you so much for coming in during the live, Sharon. I appreciate it. Everyone that is Team Replay, thank you, Team Replay. As always, I appreciate you. And if you will, please go ahead and click the like button. Okay, so let's see. We will start out. Oh, 1 minute. I'm going to mute for a second because I hear Alexa. Okay, there we are. So we are back on this episode 8. We started off where we left last week. It's Pride and Pettiness. Y'all, this is too much. So we got Kierna. Where we start off is that they are back in this bar for Pride. This was sponsored by Ashley. Ashley's telling us that this is a GNA event. So this actually falls flat. Kierna is trying to out Chris and Stacy's relationship. But Monique is funny. Monique says she actually expects him to date. She says she expects him to date because they've been separated and divorced for over 2 years. So I was pleased to hear Monique say that, and that made a lot of sense. Welcome in, Mama Bees, my moderator. Thank you so much for coming in, speaking to each other. Thank you. So these ladies, that the Ashley and I guess Gizelle, since it's GNA, Gizelle is supposed to sponsor as well. She has Grace there with her. Grace has been in college a couple of years. Grace is one of Gizelle's 3 beautiful daughters. Angel and Adore are the other 2, the twins. So we get a confessional from Monique saying she didn't want Chris anymore. And just what I say is that she released him back to the streets. But Monique laughed about it. She's dressed like a geisha girl or something. She has a beautiful Chinese-inspired dress on, and then she has her hair up in this elaborate style. So I was happy to hear Monique laughing about it. We have Gizelle in a tacky red tight skirt who gets Tia's attention. Tia's joking about Gizelle's booty. Gizelle's like, I'm happy. I didn't always have this. So Gizelle says she got her grown woman weight on. So I thought that was cute. But Tia kind of popped her bottom, and then here comes Stacy, thirsty. Why can't I touch you? Giselle said, I like her. Gizelle, that was a little bit mean. I don't know why y'all are trolling Stacy like this, but I don't think it's going to have the impact that you think it's going to have. And then Ashley comes out of nowhere. Now, she still drops it. She's still dressed as Ash Top, which makes this even more silly. She got this little mustache on, look just like a little stud. She said, I'm fine with your business. This is how she talking to Stacy. I'm fine with your business, but you decide to call it a Yoruba name. Ashley, this is none of your business. Ashley Barblehead Dobby, leave her alone. Grace is beautiful. This is the one thing, her daughters are the one reason I know Gizelle's not a terrible person, because I really like Angel and Adore and also Grace. So she's there with the event. But here go Ashley, starting with Stacy. Stacy's being grilled about this gummy line name. And then Wendy. Now, Wendy, you just had lunch with Stacy when y'all were dressed alike and had the same party down the middle, straight hairstyle and a beautiful burnt orange. She says, well, if you're going to name it that, then you have to know how to pronounce it. Tia actually pronounces it for Stacy, and Stacy says, I appreciate it. I appreciate my Nigerian sisters helping me. So again, Stacy's kind of paying them dust. Angel starts asking, Stacy, what about the social justice component of your business? Angel, I try to protect you. The people want you gone, Angel. Half people want you gone. The other half don't believe in one season wonders. I'm the other half. I don't love one season wonders. I want Angel to grow into this, but Angel, why are you picking on Stacy? Why are you piling on Stacy? So she's asking about the social justice component of your business. Stacy said, well, anyways, Stacy paid Angel dust and moved right on. Angel is so thin-skinned. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Now, you're trying to be rude to her. She has every right to defend herself, which she did. Angel gets a confessional about Stacy. Angel, this isn't a good sign. Confessional Angel says, if you don't care about being rude, about being classy, I'll be classy for both of us. That's all we want you to do, baby. That's all we want you to do. Don't start acting like Kierna, because Kierna's there on a wing and a prayer. I'm telling you. Here's Sharon. And look, hey, Sharon's not Team Replay. Sharon is here today in the chat, Angel. So I might have to put you behind me because Sharon, she can't stomach you. She says she's ready. She's going to get you. Okay. And her behavior, just a lot of things going on with Angel. It's hard to defend her. But when they are in their first season, I try to have a little bit of grace, but she is not making it easy, Sharon. I'll just have to say that. So Tia asks, does anyone have a gummy I can have now? I'm with Tia at this point because these ladies just do the same thing and it's ridiculous. So Ashley is saying G&A is afloat. Wendy gets a confessional and says, we thought G&A was, at one point it was a clothing line. And Bravo is trying to give this soft launch of Grand Dame again, of course. So we get a flashback from her saying, I would call this line booty nightclub chic, something like that, she said. You know, she's always dragging Gizelle and Ashley about being tacky. And the Grand Dame, you don't have to agree with her on nothing else. We can agree on that. Those two are tacky. Dr. Wendy, don't do too much. Dr. Wendy says, we don't know what G&A is. At this point, is it a tax front? Who, Wendy? Somebody at production don't like you. I hate to say it. They dragging everything Wendy say and let it. She said, at this point, is it a tax front? That's what you said about Gizelle and Ashley. Now, don't start crying if you make it to the reunion. And I think you will because you came to BravoCon. But when they start dragging you about what's going on in current news, don't get upset. So then we get Ashley. I don't know where this is at, but it's somewhere around the Pride event. She's giving her origin story of when she claims she started liking girls. She was in elementary school, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe you, Ashley. I think you're using this as a storyline. I think you think it's cute. I think you didn't get turned out until Michael. And I don't appreciate you using this storyline as something that's edgy or cute because you don't have anything else going on. Where's Dean and them? We don't know anything about that. We've seen the boys, 2 or 3 times? So then after the float, they come back into the same bar. They all sit down together. Gizelle puts it right on the table. She says directly to Monique, I'm pleasantly surprised. The energy is different because we know Gizelle and Monique did not have a good parting. Monique brought a whole binder that she had put together. Monique could have went to college with that binder. It was so professional. It was beautiful. And she dragged Gizelle and her relationship and everything about her. And Gizelle just sat there stone-faced and couldn't say anything. Rumor has it, though, she was behind the scenes going off and production actually protected her. So Gizelle says the energy's different. And Monique says, likewise. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't have any expectations. And I think Gizelle is glad that Monique is down to 1 house instead of 4. Because then she brings up, Wendy actually brought up, what's going on with you and Chris? Wendy, you live in the area. You know they're divorced, right? You know that. Sharon is admitted to it. This is about Angel. You already know, Sandra. She's laughing. She's trying, but not hard enough. She's just too thin-skinned, but hopefully she'll quickly grow a thicker skin. And her little mentor, Kiana, that's the last person in the group that can mentor anybody. 2 of them. I feel sorry for the both of them. So Wendy wants this update on Monique and Chris' relationship. And Wendy said something a little slick because the last time we saw y'all, you were solid. And Monique said we had a good image. And the ladies were like, ooh. So we get a flashback to Chris. Y'all are always like Chris Samuels. And I like Chris and Monique Samuels together. Now, when I knew Monique was miserable, I felt a little badly. I didn't know how it was going to end, but they did always defend each other, especially the last season when Gizelle was lying about that baby being the trainer's baby, calling Chris big boy. But they're not talking about none of that now. Monique is talking about how things went left with her and Chris. Tia, who doesn't even know Monique, Tia's a newbie, is asking, what was the final straw that broke the camel's back? And Monique is saying that Chris would be really nice to get something out of her if he wanted. Monique was being very crude during this conversation. Remember, she's within her marriage at this time. I told him, I must show him, I'm going to give you some ass. This is how Monique's talking about her husband at the time, ex-husband now. And keep in mind, Chris never dragged Monique on camera. So I think it's a little slimy what she's doing right now, particularly in this group of women, given her relationship with Gizelle, with Ashley. Ashley has lied on her before, but she brings her back in as her friend. So I'm kind of looking at Monique Samuels sideways. I was looking forward to her, but I don't really love this. So she's kind of dogging Chris. That he'll be nice to get what he wants. And then after that, he was cold to her and she looked at him and said, you will not enter me again. Remember, this is still within the marriage. You will not enter me again. And Gizelle said, oh, no, not enter. Gizelle's right because Monique is being very dramatic. This was a lot. And then Monique's trying to throw Gizelle a bone. And then Gizelle, remember when we went to France that time and you were telling me how things were going to be, and you were just advising me that sometime when men are in the limelight, they get upset if the light shines on you a little bit. Maybe that happened with Monique and Chris. I don't know. It just seemed like he was more traditional. And when she married him, she started out as his assistant, allegedly. She ended up marrying him. She, of course, was the stay-home mom, all of this. Remember, she was not for lazy moms and all this. She had a whole brand on that. But all of a sudden it changed, and she decided she wants to start career, starting with this show. Then she had the radio job, all of which is fine. But I don't know if it's fair to drag Chris because you changed the ramification, the limitations within your relationship, the parameters. So I don't know, but this conversation didn't make me feel great. So Monique's basically talking about Chris like a dog to people that she's never liked, and some of them she don't even know, and he's never done that to her. And Monique, you and these children live in Potomac. I just hope this doesn't have a fallout on their co-parenting relationship, because then you got Cookie in the mix, calling, doing all of this, even though they're going to blame it on Stacy. This is coming up next. Sharon agrees Monique was doing too much. She was. She got to remember where she's at and who these women are, and under the circumstances under which she left. She really needs to. The next scene, we get Bobby and Angel house hunting. Angel, you need Bobby with you. Bobby's very likable. He's good looking. He's cute. He's funny. And Angel is smiling when she's with him. She's not so, like she's miserable. So we get a scene with them. They have a realtor showing them a property. Angel is telling us that she's always planned to be bi-coastal. She and Bobby were born and raised in the DMV, and they want to raise their kids in the DMV. They have a lot of family around, both families. We know Angel has lost her mother, but she has a sister in the area. We saw Bobby's dad in the house. They have family in and out, so they need a lot of space. Bobby is joking. This is like the Brady Bunch for millionaires. I knew what he meant by the house. The house was kind of dated, but it was gorgeous. And it was funny. He kept having to do a height check. So he had to go use the restroom. And y'all, he was so polite about it. He said, let me release some of this gin and juice. Bobby, that's better than what some of y'all say when you got to go. Nobody talking about taking leaks and all this kind of rude stuff. He said, he's going to release some gin and juice. So go ahead, Bobby. Angel is asking Bobby how he likes the house. They get away from the realtor. They go to sit. And she said, this is so beautiful. And it was a beautiful backyard. A lot of space. It looked like there was a farm area there. But they're used to that. They're outdoors people. That's one of their businesses in Denver. And he said, this is God's country. So they started talking. He said, I'm old enough now. I can start crossing my legs. You know how older men, when they talk, they start crossing their legs. Angel said, oh, that's the perfect position. I can gossip to you about these ladies. And he's like, oh, this is weird. So he uncrosses his leg. So here go Angel. Angel, this scene would have been so cute. You know, I'm getting to know this group of ladies. And she started talking about Gizelle, Wendy, and this catfish. Angel, leave us alone about this catfish. It wasn't that big a deal. And the time to be tough was in the moment. You could have defended yourself then instead of running around crying. And Gizelle apologized at the time. And you cried again, and she apologized 2 to 3 more times. So Confessional Angel says, I'm disappointed, particularly in Wendy. Gizelle said I was a catfish, but then Wendy was the one she threw sauce on it, and it's just hard to let go. She's telling Bobby the same thing. Bobby says at the end of the day, these women, if they're going to be your friends, is it that serious? Angel says, well, I feel there was a little bit disrespect involved, and he lets her know. I mean, she has every right to feel that way. I wrote a note. I said, Angel, Bobby is likable. Listen to him. He might be able to save your job because some of the people want Angel to go. I don't like one season wonders, but Angel's going to have to bring a little more because the Gizelle, Wendy thing, that can't be all there is. It cannot. So then we get a scene where Gizelle is having lunch. She has Ashley hobbling in on some heels. Ashley has a stylist this season. She's looking pretty, but it's like she's trying a little too hard. She could barely move with those shoes. That backyard was beautiful. It really was. And since they're used to kind of fixing up whatever they want, whatever they need to do within the house, they can do it. Sharon says, Angel needs to move on. She does. That's the only way she's going to be successful within this group because they're going to throw these little digs. They're going to do all of that. And she has to give it back to them. You can't cry about it for the next 3 to 4 episodes. So Gizelle has Ashley, Tia comes, Kierna. They're all having lunch together. Ashley's bragging. The rest of them said Pride wore them down. She's like, I'll be out till 3 a.m. We know, Ashley. We know. Michael used to keep her up all night trolling for young women and men, allegedly, and in my opinion. So then Gizelle said, well, Grace couldn't remember your name. She's talking to Tia. She wants to call you English Muffin. Now, Gizelle, I thought you and Tia were friends. Tia said, I love that. I love that. So Janelle announces, I'm a bad bee. I have 10 million downloads. So y'all, that podcast is doing pretty good. She said they're up for an NAACP Image Award. That's her and Robin. Production put up a few more, as Gizelle said, accolades. So congratulations to them. Production puts up something with Gizelle and Rob, the Throb Dixon doing the show. Gizelle says she's throwing a party to celebrate. So this is good news. Kierna brings up the Pride event. At the Pride event, when Monique was so bravely discussing this information about our marriage to Chris, about her marriage to Chris, Stacy's called Chris and told him, I got the information from Cookie, and I know that Stacy is the one that told Chris. So he was angry and he called Cookie to vent. So Confessional K says that she doesn't think that's right, that Stacy would call and do that. Now, I'm not sure if Stacy did it or not. She's messy, but y'all, what we've seen of Cookie's messy as well. So Gizelle starts clapping. You mean she took something within the group and brought it outside the group? I don't care if she's having sex with Chris or not. Now, Gizelle, Stacy said that they have a friendship. They might have gone on a few dates. They're both single people. Nobody said anything about her having sex with Chris. So this is how rumors get started. And Gizelle has said she stopped lying. Gizelle, why are you doing this? I don't care whether you're having sex with Chris or not. It's just like if I was laying down with Michael Darby, you better not tell nothing about Michael Darby. This was just silly. And Tia interrupts, and then he picks up the phone immediately. Now, Tia, these are both single people. This is none of your business. So we could tell where this scene is going. This group has gotten together to drum more stuff up against who? Stacy. Stacy's in the scene, and she's not even in the scene, y'all. So the next scene, we get Wendy and Monique. They are out to lunch. Production shows us the last time they saw each other, that season 5 reunion. Monique in that gold, that severe bob, and that binder, calling out the good pastor's number. This was something. And then she says, oh, she said, look at the purses. She said, not us purse twinning. You got the baby and I got the mama. Monique, you probably don't owe nobody for yours. Monique says, Wendy was the first person to reach out to me after the fight. Stop calling this a fight. Candace was arguing. She was being very provocative. She was daring you to drag her, do this and that, but she did not touch you. You flipped her hair, and then you did proceed to try to drag her. Ran him out of the building and threatened to kill her, okay? So this was not a fight. This was an attack. But in any case, Wendy was the first one to reach out. We're not going to let Monique rewrite history. I'm glad she's back. I want to see what she's up to, but she got to be held accountable. So, and I think Wendy called her due to the fact at the time, the Green Eye Bandits, Robin and Gizelle, didn't like Wendy either. So they were rejoicing at the time when Mia attacked Wendy. So then Monique asks, well, what is your relationship with Gizelle now? She's taking temperature on Wendy and Gizelle. Wendy says, it is much better. I will call Gizelle my friend. Remember in Nevis, Wendy called Gizelle her friend and half cried about it. Cookie is a hot mess and looks it. Yes, Sharon, she's factoring way too much. And then I have my thoughts on her being friends with the Grand Dame and also friends with Gizelle. Because I don't think that any of these ladies would call Cookie friend. I think they're willing to use her and weaponize her to do things they wouldn't do. And we'll see a little bit later what Miss Cookie gets up to. She is a mess. So in the confessional, I said confessional Mo, I don't know what she said, but she looked beautiful. Monique, that's not a good sign. You're not talking about that much yet. She's not talking about that much yet. We saw the beautiful house. I didn't like what I heard her saying about Chris. We need her to fill us in more on this rebuilding phase because I know she has it in her. Don't just come on here and join this little gang up. Welcome in, Keywan JTV, my fellow content creator. I appreciate that. Sharon Gobbles, I agree. Yeah, we got to see. Come on, Monique, come in here, but don't come in here like this. Talking bad about Chris and then trying to gang up with the rest of the group. So Wendy brings up Stacy. She says that Stacy is the one that let her know that Karen was talking junk about her. And then she thanked everyone else at the reunion but Wendy. Remember, Wendy said, "This is not my friend." So, Wendy, you already knew that the Green Eye Bandits didn't like you, nor did the Grand Dame. So, this is a little bit sad. This factored into actually how Wendy, I believe, in my opinion, kind of came to be what she's accused of now, just trying to please everybody. This is a little bit sad. So then she asked about Cookie. Wendy said, "Do you know Cookie? How do you know Cookie?" Monique says, "I don't really know her. I met her at my ex-husband's party. We had Chuck Brown as a musical guest, and she told me that Chuck Brown was her daddy. She was his daughter." And Monique found out later, she in fact has no relation to Chuck Brown, the DMV legend, y'all. His son Wiley was so cute. He was on Ready to Love one season. And everybody wanted to date Wiley, but he was so young. They kept saying, "He's too young, he's too young." But anyway, Cookie is no relation to Chuck Brown. Monique said, "Who does that?" She said, "It's a demonic entity." This is going to come up later. And then she said, Cookie's also close with Gizelle. Now, Monique still doesn't really trust Gizelle, and that's smart of Monique. Wendy calling this lady her friend is wild. Gizelle is no one's friend. She's no one's friend. So we're going to see what's going to happen with Cookie. So I think Monique and Wendy, they're desperate for friends that normally wouldn't give them the time of day. And now we got Cookie in the mix. So Monique says, "The new girls are kind of timid. I didn't have you down as a spokesperson, Wendy." So by the new girls, I think she's lumping Angel and Kay together because this is their first season. Tia's not really timid. And then she says, "Stacy takes notes on everything, and then she tries to do what you do." So they're going back to the single black female. When Happy Eddie said the new strain of weed would be, he said it would be copycat. So this is something they're trying to put out there about Stacy. So I said, "Stacy, heads up. I know you got more going on. You can't just copy off what somebody else is doing." I don't have a problem with her gummy line or even the name, but we're going to need to see a little bit more because this is getting a little bit silly, giving these ladies the ammunition that they're willing to use against her. So what I did find out from this scene is that Monique doesn't trust Gizelle and that she doesn't like Cookie, okay? So next we get a scene with Stacy and TMO. They are dating again, of course. That man wants Stacy back, okay? He's at a swim event with Arabella. Stacy tells us it was dry and now it's raining. Stacy, we don't care. Work him. That's your husband or ex-husband. I feel like he's only here so he don't get fined by Stacy. But Stacy, what are you going to do? TMO does not want to be on the screen. Tia is the safest one. Stacy tells her that to her face. So she comes there and attends Arabella's swim practice. They talk a little bit about whether or not TMO would go out to dinner with them. Stacy says TMO's wary of the group. He knows a lot of the things that the lady did to her. And he is no fool. He actually saw that reunion where they tried to drag Stacy, but she said, "And still I rise." And she did rise. So Simon is a different type German. He's not like the one from Martha's Vineyard. Bria had one over there on Summer House, and she couldn't keep Simon away from her party. She used to have to try to get in his face and tell him how to behave. Tiamo wants no parts, y'all. I don't know what it is yet. I hope it's not what it could be, but I don't really know Germans to be like that. Not that I've had all that much experience, but Tiamo, why you don't want Stacy around these women and you don't want to be around the women? And Stacy, last season you told us Arabella doesn't know any of your black family and you from Detroit. So Stacy, we're going to start looking at you. We like you, but we're going to start looking at you, okay? That shows you right there. Cookie like to tell lies. Yes, and why she always on the phone with Chris and why she doesn't like Monique. Her husband looks so uncomfortable. He does. He's not a fit. And this group does, they will attack the husband. They've attacked Happy Eddie, who bothers no one. They attacked Candace's husband, Chris Bassett, who bothered no one. He was friendly with the ladies, cooked for them. So TMO might be in danger. I don't blame him. So Tia is inviting them to dinner with Rob and also with Eddie. Tia made me laugh. She said he has no friends. Talk about Rob. Don't tell Rob's business. Rob is over there almost a house husband and has a big job. So he doesn't have time for friends. Stacy asked, well, TMO might be out of town. He flies out either that night or the next day. I don't know. But Stacy was kind of lying because they couldn't get the story straight. And TMO was like, okay, bye. TMO got out of there. So Stacy says, well, can I still come as a threesome? Stacy, you are on Real Housewives of Potomac. It's not a threesome, baby. Call it a third wheel or something like that. Because if bobblehead Ashley hear that, she'll go crazy. We know how Ashley get down. Stacy said that she's friendly, but she is not stupid. She has a history with the other ladies. So Tia takes this as an invitation. She says she is Sherlock Holmes. She's going to ask some questions and get some information. She asked about Monique. She said, I think it's very brave of Monique to tell us things that were going on in her marriage. Now, I think that Tia had already received a heads up that Stacy maybe called around and told Chris this information, because I don't know why. That wasn't a natural transition into a conversation about Monique. And then Tia asked, well, how well do you know Monique? She's lovely. She's lovely. How do you know Chris? Well, he's a really nice guy, and Monique's lovely. We get a confessional from Tia saying, oh, I can't believe when Stacy said that, because at first she said she didn't know him. Now, Tia, you know Stacy can't keep her story straight, but we'll see what's going to happen with this. Tia saying it's a shame that TMO can't come to Gizelle's event. Stacy says that he is not comfortable with the whole group. Stacy, I do believe this. And then Stacy said, well, she said, if Gizelle brings her man, then I might bring TMO. I might bring my ex-husband, my boyfriend, my husband. So read, Stacy. Tia says, oh, so we're basically waiting for pigs to fly. Read, Tia. That's right. Y'all talk about Gizelle. This is what y'all should be doing instead of circular firing squad each other. Get on Gizelle, get on Ashley. I don't know why the new ladies are attacking each other. That's why I want to bang Kay and Angel's head together. Get on Gizelle. Here go Tap 995. Hello, thank you for coming in during the live. Sharon, Stacy's losing points with me. It's too much, Sharon. We trying to defend her, but can she come up with something that's true? You ain't got to lie every week. I mean, we laughed a little bit, but come on, it's your second season now. Come up with some more. So we get a confessional from Gizelle. Gizelle says Grace is grown. So we know that Grace has been away to school for a couple of years. She's working with this man, Brandon, Gizelle's friend. He's planning events. They're going to plan this GNA event. Not the GNA event, the event to celebrate the podcast. The M&M's, something shady, not Slim Shady, but the other shady, reasonably shady. So Robin's not coming. Gizelle says that she's not coming. She's still upset because of how she left the show. So Gizelle, y'all do talk about that? Wow. Cece, welcome in. This is one of my moderators speaking to myself, Mama B, Sharon, Kiwan JTV, Helgo Tepe, and the rest of the chat. Miss Sharon, not my girl Stacy losing points. Kiwan JTV, we are trying with Stacy. But the main thing Stacy has with me is that she doesn't just lay down, she defends herself, and she's very quick with it and quick-witted, and I do love that. But she had to get up off these lies. We got to hear some more that's true. Okay, so Gizelle is telling us that the girls are mad. She almost disinvited Stacy from the event. She said the girls are mad that Stacy called Chris after the event. Now, how do we know Stacy did this? We got Cookie, who's a big liar herself, and then Kierna, who's jumping in everything that's got nothing to do with her. I don't know if she did that or not. So Gizelle brought up Robin not coming. That's going to come up again later. So even though it's a duo, it's the Green Eye Bandits podcast, Gizelle is inviting all the ladies and Robin refuses to come. Sharice was there. Sharice won't miss an envelope opening in Potomac. She is desperate to get back on this show. Sharice, you're not even his friend up. So next, the event comes. We have Eddie and Wendy, or is this lunch? This is their dinner. Eddie and Wendy are meeting Tia and Rob for dinner. Happy Eddie is speaking to Tia about them being Nigerian. Eddie has spent time in Nigeria. He's never lived there. Eddie, I hope you don't have to live there. I'm not going to say too much, but I hope, unless you want to, you nor Dr. Wendy have to live there, okay? You are welcome in Potomac, okay? So Wendy claims that she loves Tia. They have all this in common. There's a connection that is uniquely theirs. So Dr. Wendy said, y'all are not going to get her on a NECA 2.0. She said she's getting along with anybody that claimed Nigeria over here. She even said, I'm tired of people picking at Stacy. So she's going to take Stacy under her wing. So I think that's good. So we find out that Dr. Wendy and Eddie have been married for 14 years, and Tia and Rob have been together 17 years. Tia's telling some long story about at the millennial, and she lied about her age. She was 19. Tia can go when she gets started. She used to tell people she was half Cuban. Tia, what? Said she went to an all-white school. Girl, this is a mess. Sandy, don't start with Sharice. I'm going to start with Sharice. I'll tell Sharice this. She's very persistent, okay? If she gets invited, she going to be there. I wonder if Robin wanted a Bravo check to appear. I don't know, but honestly, even if she did, CC, she still would have been smart to come anyway, because Gizelle is doing everything she can to kind of slide her back in the door. I told y'all she was at BravoCon. She was on the traders panel, but she jumped up and got mad when Alexander Rogers asked her a question about her getting fired. That's not traders. Don't y'all have any questions about traders? I'm not answering it. But then she turned around and answered a question, something about being sued by Slim Shady, which wasn't traders either. So Robin is not smart. She's less than smart. Shout out to Nene. Because she could ease in like Sharice. Now, Sharice will have a better chance in coming back than Robin. At least she'll show up when she's invited. Cookie, we can't get rid of Cookie. And I don't like seeing Cookie. I think Cookie has a negative energy. She's not fun. And we'll see that later on. So the two couples are having a great dinner. One of her family members is married to one of mine. Cookie. Oh, so can we talk about it still? Yeah, we can talk about it. Everything's allegedly and in my opinion. And Cece has not said anything negatively about Cookie, okay? Just for the record. So Eddie is saying that when he was 17 in college, Wendy wanted no parts of him. And Wendy was like, he didn't have a car. He didn't have this. But then when she saw him again later in college, he had a car. She said, this is a man. Oh, Sharice. Okay. Sharice started out season 1. So Sharice is an OG. But I don't know. Once she couldn't talk about her husband and then her ex-husband, there was a huge storyline there. There wasn't really much else. Her little feud with Karen's kind of funny. They get into it, and that makes me laugh. Because she gets under Karen's skin. She says she knows where the bodies are buried on Karen. So Eddie and Wendy are saying, well, look at where we are now. Y'all, none of this is aging well. This is terrible. So Wendy, you wouldn't date Eddie as sweet as he was and as smart as he was because he didn't have a car? So this is not looking good, y'all. I wonder if Wendy is the one that encourages Eddie. We need this. We need that. I need 5 Birkins, this, that. Y'all, this is a mess. This is sad. So Eddie asked, did you just move here from Chicago? Tia says she's never been to Chicago. Rob, why you got Tia scared of Chicago? Rob is telling Tia that they can smell you when you're not from there and that she wouldn't make it in Chicago. So they're laughing about that. But that's kind of offensive. Chicago's nice. Cookie has hater energy. In my opinion, she does have hater energy. I agree. So Tia discloses that Stacy felt that I'm the safest one in the group with her. Wendy immediately gets offended and says, I'm going to call Stacy. Why isn't she here anyway? So Wendy calls her, Stacy, why aren't you here? Tiamo had to go out of town, or either he's going out of town. Y'all, we don't know. Stacy's still lying. Eddie is so cool and likable. Sharon, I think that's going to save them. We'll see what happens, but I still like Happy Eddie. And, he's still having his events, his pop-up shops and stuff for Happy Eddie. So I like the fact he's still going on with his life. So Tia says that Tiamo was out of town. Stacy lied that quick. She said something else about why she couldn't be at the dinner. And Wendy's like, well, what do you mean that she's the safest one in the group when I'm the one that defends you? And then Stacy had the nerve to say, Tia, I don't appreciate you drawing a wedge between me and Wendy. So that was so funny. And she tells Wendy, I'm sorry I introduced Tia first to TMO when you are my closest friend in the group. Said it right in front of Tia. So Tia's sitting there getting upset. Tia says, when they hung up, Tia got a confessional and she said bollocks, which she said is BS. So that's British for BS. I found that really funny. Sharice helped cast the show. I think in real Potomac circles, Sharice may be the grand dame. Yeah, that's what I've heard. That is what I've heard. And I think that is her main problem with Karen. Karen might kind of be a pretender to the throne, but I mean, she's already been anointed that by Bravo. Even her daughter's good friends with Sasha Obama. Yeah, Sharice is the one with the pedigree. She really is. Sharon agrees. Yeah, we know this. We watch Potomac. So the people that have watched Potomac, we do know this to be true. But when you talk about the it factor, like Karen or not, I don't see Sharice having the it factor that Karen has. That's just to me. But she can continue to attend events and be She's not even friend of. So I'm still confused if they get a check or not. I don't know. Like Vivian. Vivian was there. People are advocating for Vivian, but I don't see enough of her to say she should get a flute either. So Tia was telling Wendy, oh, Wendy says, well, what else is happening? What else is going on? Tia tells Wendy that Angel says that Wendy was dismissive, cold, and nasty to her at the airport. Now, we already know that that is not true. Production showed when they greeted each other. Wendy might have been dry, but she was like, hi, Angel. She didn't ignore Angel. Angel felt ignored. And then Wendy is told by Tia. Tia's like, and she also feels like you were the first one to call her a catfish. Production showed that that's not true either. Angel, where was your head? I'm going to give you baby brain, Angel. I'm going to give Angel an excuse. I don't think Stacy meant it like that. Tia met with Stacy to be nosy. Yeah, I don't think she did either. It was just, Stacy sounds like the type to kind of hype her friends up. Like, well, he feels safe with you, and so I'll introduce you first. But it didn't mean anything against Wendy. It was just positive toward Tia. So I don't know why Wendy got so upset. But Wendy seems one of those personalities that, I don't know. She's very desperate for friendship. And that's another part of what she's going through now. Angel is exhausting. She is Kiwan J. She's making it so much harder than it had to be. She's having a very difficult first season, and a lot of it is through her own making. Sharon Gobble said, I had enough of Angel. I'm still trying to, I was speechless for a second. I'm gonna stick beside her. Angel, you got a few more episodes. Ooh, this is a mess. Key1 JTV. Wendy took it too personal. I think she did. I think they drum up a lot of things, and I don't think Stacy meant it like that. But they always look for Stacy to be shady or this or that, or for them to be able to walk over her, and they'll make it into something bigger than it was. So we get a confessional from Wendy saying, Kay and Angel are obsessed. True, Wendy. She said they need that validation. Nevis was weeks ago. Grown women don't argue about stuff like that. She said, girl, F you and that camouflage. Wendy. And Dr. Wendy was looking pretty too, y'all. That is the one where she has that little flip hairdo, and then she got the red on. Wendy's looking good. I wonder if she kept those dresses. Kiwan's laughing at Sharon. Both of y'all get on Angel. I'm gonna stick beside her. For now. She's making it hard. She's making it as hard as Shamia has made it. Shamia's still over there being cringy. I dread this season trying to help this lady keep her second season. So Rob is asking Stacy. He said, well, where's Stacy from? He's asking about Stacy. Tia says she's from Detroit. Dr. Wendy said, oh, there's some hustlers out there. Y'all, I'm telling you, production do not like Wendy. Wendy had at that age. Where else are there hustlers, allegedly? And you can't say nothing about Nigeria. The whole community to get on you. I need that clip of Nneka's husband saying, we don't talk about it. Stop, boo. Kiwan, why would you put yourself through this? It's just, I don't know. I don't know how Kiwan feel, but season 1, it's almost like you can't flunk out during your season 1. But some of them try really hard. If you look at Britt Edie, and all Britt had to do was show up at the reunion because the crowd sentiment and cast sentiment was kind of changing in her favor a little bit. And I don't think that they were going to fire her. They might have given her a second season just like they gave Kay. So this is a mess. So Wendy, now she has dogged out Detroit as having scammers. So then this party is for the reasonably shady 10 million downloads. Congratulations to them. Robin is refusing to come because she got fired for selling her story instead of just telling the story she was already getting paid to tell. At this event, we have Tia. Tia's filling in the ladies on Stacy's lies not matching up. And Gizelle is talking to Rob, Tia's husband, Rob. He's funny. He's like, oh, congratulations on the podcast. I have a story. I think he has an idea. Something he said. I have an idea for a podcast. Gizelle's kind of listening. Rob, don't be flying up in Gizelle's face. Y'all didn't watch this show before you came on here? I love her. LOL. Sharon says, I hate to admit it, but Wendy's hair and outfit was fire. You can admit it. We can still watch it as if, it is the show. We just know all these behind the scene things that were going on because it's in the news. But if Wendy hadn't gotten to this mess, her and Happy Eddie, this would be her best season. She's really coming into herself. She's funny. She's always dressed. She's beautiful. This new party I'm taking y'all to right now, this reasonably shady event, Wendy looking like a chocolate Betty Boop. Y'all know the little Betty Boop commercials with the little tendrils? Beautiful. And it's so pretty on her face. Gorgeous. So now we got Tia. Tia is upset about Stacy. She says she wants to be friends with Stacy's, but she keeps catching Stacy in these lies, which is true. Angel kissing up to Gizelle. How do we get to know each other better with stars in her eyes? Angel, this is driving me. Why would you say that to Gizelle? She said, you said what you said, but you've apologized. But she wants to hold something against Wendy, but not Gizelle, who actually came up with the catfish line. That was another thing at the dinner they just had. Wendy said, Gizelle said catfish first, not me. And production keeps showing us that. So that is a trip. Sharon is laughing. Yeah, this was a good episode, y'all. Keywan J, Angel wants to be a mean girl so bad. You got to have thick skin to do that. She's not able. Everyone's not able. Now, Gizelle could show her how to do it, but Gizelle would rather attack her. Gizelle's not going to take Angel up under her wing. I'm sorry, Angel. She's just not. So Angel is telling Gizelle, Wendy's reaction have caused us to have interactions that devolve into a mercurial nature. So Gizelle gets in a confessional. She said, I don't know what mercurial nature is, and I don't think Angel knows either. So this is a mess. Wendy and Eddie come in. Everybody greets them. Everybody likes this couple. Y'all didn't have to do all this. Wendy could have had a storyline like, okay, I have all these 4 degrees. I'm a professor. I've got this show. I've got these children. I'm just stressed to the end. I'm going to have to quit a couple of jobs. And things, we're going to maybe not struggle, but things are not going to be as easy for us as they have been. Something. I just don't understand what these two are accused of. I really don't. So everybody greets them. They congratulate Gizelle on her 10 million downloads. That's a big accomplishment. Gizelle compliments Wendy's pretty finger waves. Y'all, Wendy just, I think she licked her lips. I was embarrassed for her. I said, Dr. Wendy, what are you doing? This was the same lady who rooted for the woman that threw a drink in Wendy's face. And then when Wendy defended herself just by talking, Mia tried to hit her with a clutch purse, and Gizelle was like, Mia's not leaving this trip. But Wendy is so happy and excited to have Gizelle's attention and compliments. Y'all, this is embarrassing. Just to have Gizelle acknowledge her. And y'all, Gizelle has slicked her own hair back and got a ponytail from somewhere and just sat it there. So Cal, are you mad at Gizelle? Cal's at this party, but why did he do this? Y'all, Wale walks in. Wale is from the Love Hotel. Sharon, you watched the Love Hotel with me, and we reviewed it over here. Keywan says she agrees. Sharon, it's very embarrassing. Yeah, Dr. Wendy, you don't have to kowtow to anybody. I don't know why they give Gizelle all that. I really don't. So we are looking at Wale. Wale comes in with 2 flowers. He's very suave. He's good looking, and I actually liked him on Love Hotel. I like him now. So Ashley looks a little bit embarrassed. Yeah, Ashley, we know you stole that money. We know you were still rolling around with Luke. Had no intention of dating. So Wale gives Gizelle flowers and congratulates her. He has another set of flowers for Robin. Oh, where's Robin? Robin is not there. Gizelle's being messy. Are you going to speak to Ashley? He was like, I didn't see Ashley. Are those flowers for Ashley? No, they're not for Ashley. They're for Robin. So he did speak to Ashley. Ashley had the nerve to get in a confessional and says, I'm at Wale on the Love Hotel. His love for me was as fake as his grill. Production, thank you. They show a side-by-side of Ashley with her fake grill at the G&A Pride event that she just had and Wale's grill. So production is not giving Ashley any breaks. And then we see a flashback of Wale, y'all. He had to chastise Ashley. Ashley got off the date with Ralph where she was just tonguing Ralph down. And then he was the older white man who she ended up with for a second. Came in there and thought she was going to start tonguing Wale down. Wale said, you don't get to go on a date with another man, kiss him all in the mouth, and come in here without brushing your teeth and kiss me. That's what Wale told Ashley to her face. And production showed it, which I loved. I like Wale too, Sharon. I really do. He was too good for Ashley. So she lies. I was considering being with him. I was going to put him on my IG. Ashley, leave us alone. She said, I dodged a bullet. No, I think Wale dodged the bullet. Stacy comes into weird energy from the whole group. Y'all, this is exhausting. I do not like gang ups, any of that stuff. I don't understand it. Vivian is there. Stacy walks up to Vivian. Y'all, they have the coldest, coolest conversation I've seen on TV. This was funny. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? You look beautiful. You do. You look beautiful. Stacy takes Vivian by the shoulders and said, let's talk. Vivian said, mm-hmm. These two are mad at each other, y'all, but they're ladies, okay? Confessional Stacy says, I've let that friendship go to the past. I can pat you on your head and send you on your way. No, Vivian stopped messing with you, Stacy, because Vivian said that Stacy returned her dresses funky under the arm. Stacy says that Vivian tried to be slick with her. We see Andy on the reunion says Vivian is redressing some of your friends in the same outfit. Y'all, the friend was Ashley. We see Ashley hosting an event, and then we see Stacy at another event in the same dress. Neither one of y'all were paying Vivian. You couldn't have been. You couldn't have been. So Ashley and Stacy had the same dress by Vivian at different events. Stacy says that she's going to keep it classy. And Vivian's at the party. She's keeping it classy. Sharice doesn't have anything against anybody. They all like her. We see her in the background. Y'all, Cookie walks in. Cookie, were you making a delivery? Why would Cookie dress like that? Cookie had a T-shirt on. The T-shirt covered this whole area. We couldn't read what it said because the letters were like, okay, strategically placed, but I couldn't tell you what Cookie's shirt said if you force me. I don't know. What did Cookie's shirt say? So Gizelle is getting up to give her little speech. We started this podcast during 2020. We didn't have anything else to do. I started it with my friend. Wendy gets a confessional and says, no, Robin, it's like you telling us we're going to see the Supremes and only Diana Ross is there. Now, Dr. Wendy, not too much. Dr. Diana Ross can carry a show, okay? So then again, Bravo alludes to the fact that Robin got fired for hiding the truth and trying to sell her story that Bravo was already paying her for. Wendy is joking. Where's Robin? Under the couch? Production's still mad at you, Robin. Production shows us Robin laying in the bed with her head covered. Now, I'll give Robin grace, y'all. That was a really tough time, 2020 and 21, and I think Robin was depressed. Production shows us Juan Dixon calling the house and going, Rob, are the boys up? The boys will be late from school, y'all, and they were going to school from home. I wish I were lying. Do y'all remember that season? She had a tough time. There goes Stacy lying again. I haven't given up on her totally yet. See, that's how I feel about Angel. She was lying right to Vivian's face. We got to talk. How are you? How are you? I'm doing well. Well. And Stacy, I don't know. Did you have to send those dresses to the cleaners? Because I don't see a woman like Vivian lying about that. I really don't. So next, Dr. Wendy, they asking about Robin. Kierna, why did you do a confessional about Robin? Now, if Robin does get back on the show and bops you on the other side of your forehead, you're not going to like that, will you? So I didn't like that. Kierna's like, where's Robin? Is she under the couch? Like I said, I think that Robin was depressed. So production shows us Juan calling to find out if the boys are up. And Juan was cheating at the time. He also was resentful. Robin helped lose all their money. Remember, he was caught on a hot mic saying, I just want something real. When my boys leave, I'm out of here. And then Robin remarried the man and told us to kiss her. Hey, Robin, you can stay going. Every time I think about Robin, I get mad. And she's still mad. But she is still in the NBC Universal universe. She was on Traders. And as I told y'all, she was at BravoCon. And Gizelle is still pulling for her. Gizelle is a good friend, I'll tell you that. Well, at least she is to Robin. So Ashley says, Gizelle's putting on a brave face because I know Gizelle Bryant and she doesn't want anybody to know that she really does miss Robin. Ashley, I don't believe it because you're smirking. You know, if Robin comes back, it's the Green Eyed Bandits again and you gone. You're going to be the odd one out. I give Musty Tail Robin 0 grace. Kiwan, you do? Ooh, no grace for Robin. Kiwan, I totally agree. Neither one of them see it for Robin. Gizelle, that's the audience sentiment. I told y'all when Alexander Rogers asked that rude question, he got cheered and she got booed because she wouldn't answer it. So they're trying to slide her back into the Bravo universe, but she's not really missed or wanted. But somebody listening to that podcast, but I think people are waiting for them to go viral. Like when they said something about Nikki or somebody and the person was dressed. No, K. Michelle. And it wasn't even anything bad. So Tia is telling Stacy in front of the group, can I see you for a minute? So Tia, Stacy, I think Wendy were going aside. You know, they have those little tables that you stand up to. They were going aside. Here come all the other ladies standing around their table. Here go Cookie at her own table, still listening. So Tia is telling Stacy in front of everybody, I got up at 5 a.m. to meet Stacy and Tiamo at Arabella's swimming because I am interested in being your friend. I mean, I was interested. Now, Tia, where's all this energy coming from? So Stacy is saying, Tia said, I invited you to dinner. Stacy says, you invited my husband. Now, Stacy, that's semantics. She was not going to just invite Tiamo somewhere. She invited you as a couple. And then y'all lied. I still don't know if the man's in town or not. We still don't know. So she said, you invited my husband. Tia's saying, the problem with you, you're a liar. And Tia's saying, Stacy, you're lying. Don't let the accent fool you. We skipped something, or maybe some of the scene is out because Tia went from 2. They were talking. Tia is about a 10 for Tia. Tia doesn't get excited, but she's pointing. I think she might be clapping because Stacy starts clapping. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Stacy's being really provocative because Tia's getting really upset. And then something came up about Cookie. So Stacy's clapping bravo. Wendy's sitting there, whoop, whoop. Wendy, we don't need your verbal exclamation points. We know that they're getting into it. I don't like when they try to guide the audience into what's happening. We know what's going in. Kiana jumps in. Kiana, why are you speaking so loudly? I think this is the scene. I'm going to test something out. Let me see. Did I show? I felt like I had a scene of Kiana. Let me see if this is it.
Okay, let's talk about what real friends do. Last week, I thought it was amazing that Monique shared her whole entire healing journey with her ex-husband. So, 10 minutes, maybe if that. I was on the phone with Cookie, and then on the other line, Chris called in. So when she clicks back over and says to me, Stacy, you called him and said Monique was trashing Chris, that he treated her like a piece of meat, and that he had bad sex.
What are you talking about? How do you know it was her?
Oh, I know that it was her that called.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about, Stacy.
Why would I say that?
Cookie is standing right here.
But why are we doing all this? What? How is that real?
Because you called them and told them.
How?
How? A phone. Don't sit up there and act stupid with me.
Let me tell you why this is making me very uncomfortable.
Tell me, Wendy.
Because I met with Monique and she told me that if Cookie is around, Cookie's gonna trash her.
I can't be around people that act as if they're your friend, but then they're...
Okay, let's talk about what real friends.
Okay, y'all. Let me see if I can jump back on here. Okay, let me see how.
Okay, let's talk about what real friends do.
Not that. Okay, I'm back. Y'all, why was Kiana talking that loud? And Tia and Stacy were not finished their conversation. They met and had the latest conversation. Tia has every right to pick it up and put her point across. Wendy could be involved. Wendy's is friends to both of them. Kiana, I don't know where Kiana fit in. I didn't like all that she was doing, talking loud. She cursed the lady a couple of times. Said, you've been lying ever since you've been in this GD group. I don't know why Cookie in the big alphabet shirt is talking. I don't know why any of that. Of course, we know after that scene plays on, Cookie tell Stacy doesn't know anything. I don't know what she's talking about. Stacy, I might be inclined to believe you might have called Chris. But if Chris is your friend, you have every right. Regular Robin, that's what they call her, Cece. Rob the Throb Dixon. Regular Robin. Laying over there in the bed. Cece says Stacy subscribes to the school of Shaggy. It wasn't me. She never knows. You got to catch Stacy in the act. You have to catch Stacy ringing the Ring doorbell and the video start because she doesn't know. Stacy doesn't know anything. Kiana has no place in this. I saw Angel roll her eyes. Angel, keep that energy. Pull your friend aside and say, Kiana, what are you doing? We're not in this. Gizelle sitting there looking shocked. So this is them all kind of ganging up on Stacy, except for Dr. Wendy, looking like a chocolate Betty Boop. Yes, Dr. Wendy, I love it. You don't let people gang up on someone, whether you think they're lying or you agree or not. So Wendy says, I don't believe it. Wendy said, here's why I don't believe it. Kiana, why? Why you don't? She said, because Monique told me that Cookie talked about it behind her back. I don't know, something. Wendy was doing a lot of this. Did you notice Wendy's rings and stuff? Production, stop doing that to Dr. Wendy. But Wendy was doing this. Why is Cookie telling Stacy, don't point at me? Now, Stacy did point to her Cookie too. But that's that woman's fingers. Everybody's 40 plus. So you don't tell me where to point Cookie. Cookie trying to throw her weight around, y'all. I didn't like that. I think Kierna told Cookie what Monique said. Kiwan J, she might have. Kierna's desperately trying to be in the mix. So that wouldn't shock me. That wouldn't shock me because Stacy was like, why would I say that? Stacy, I don't know why you would say that. You've been caught in lies before. I don't know, y'all. This is kind of a mystery. Chocolate Betty Boop to the rescue. She did, Sharon. I was proud of Dr. Wendy in that moment. And she was wearing that green too. And I like that the men were at another table. They're not like the Atlanta men. Because Peter Thomas, or as Nene called him, Patricia, who won't stay out of women business, Peter would have been right over there in the mix. The men are standing a safe distance away. But the ladies didn't get kind of nervous until Cookie got a little bit activated. Cookie, you too big to be doing all that. What did Ashley tell Mia that season? You're a big girl to be doing all that. And Mia was just swinging with that clutch purse. So y'all, this was too much. Cookie's telling Stacy, don't point your finger. Stacy's like, let me move over there. Stacy, don't move closer to somebody that's agitated and they're the size of Cookie, okay? I know you're from Detroit, but you said you haven't been around there and you haven't been around the people in a few years, so I wouldn't advise that. So Cookie is speaking extremely loudly. I saw a white lady in the back laughing. The men are looking, should we go over there or not? I saw Bobby's face kind of surprised. Eddie's, Angel's looking, everybody's looking. Gizelle's slightly excited, y'all. She loves this. And this is your event, Gizelle. This is your event. You invited Cookie for her to come in here and do this. And so Cookie has the nerve to say, don't point your finger at me. Cookie, I come with the truth. You need to go somewhere and take a bath with your funky ass. That's what she said to Stacy, y'all. Now, between the two of them, I'm not going to stereotype. Who would be more likely to have a funky ass? I don't know. Stacy, you've been accused of being funky under the arms. I don't know if you funky ass or not. I don't know. I think Cookie has a crush on Chris Samuels. I think she is in a, you could call him up and he won't think it's weird relationship because he sees her as a friend. He might even discuss women that he's attracted to with her as a friend. And she might even be somebody that in a pinch on a drunken night, she might get a piece of Chris. Maybe, I don't know. But Cookie's got a lot of energy for Stacy. We already know she doesn't like Monique. What did Monique do to you? Aside from being married to somebody you got a crush on. So I don't know, y'all. Cookie is a suspect. I'm going to blame Cookie for this scenario. Kierna was acting ratchet, too loud for me. Sharon, why was she doing all of that? Clapping, and then at one point she started cussing, and all of them, just with the exception of Wendy, jumping on Stacy again. About what? Aretha, aka Cookie. Y'all don't see it for Cookie. I don't see it for Cookie. I don't think she belongs. And here's what I think about Cookie. Her claiming Karen as a friend, her claiming Grand Dame as a friend, Gizelle as a friend, Chris Samuel as a friend. I think Cookie is one of those friends that people can weaponize and get her to do things that they wouldn't do. You wouldn't see Karen spreading rumors like this and calling Chris up and saying, what did she say? Bad in bed and treated her like a piece of meat. I couldn't see Karen or Monique or somebody saying that unless Cookie was the one that brought that back to Chris. I really do. Somebody thought Kierna, who was a socialite? I would say Vivian. I would say Grand Dame. I would say Charisse. I don't know. Is a socialite isn't using her nickname socialite? Because that used to have a specific meaning. I'm not going to give Cookie that title. And I don't see a scenario where she would ever hold a flute. I just don't. I hear people saying that. No, it's not going to happen. Even friend up. Because I think she had to be ushered out of there. We'll see what happens next week because, y'all, that was the end of the episode. But Gizelle, you shouldn't be standing there looking excited. This lady has disrespected your event. Sharon Gobble is saying that's the only way Cookie would get a piece of Chris. That's what I think. I think she's one of those friends. She's like a vagina in a glass jar. If nothing else is going on and nobody knows and nobody finds out, a lot of men will break that jar and then not tell anybody. Now Cookie's thinking, I still got a chance. Kiwan J is putting it in here again. This is not a misprint. Kiwan J TV said Cookie is a socialite. They know her everywhere. Even the cast of Love and Marriage DC. I'm sorry, Kiwan JTV, that does not a socialite make. It doesn't. We'll say Cookie's well known in the neighborhood. We'll say Cookie's name is ringing bells in the neighborhood, but I can't call this lady a socialite. And she's getting ushered out of here by security. Y'all see security come over there like, we can't let Cookie tap Stacy, because Stacy, bring your skinny self out from over there. Stacy's like, I'm going to move over here, and still got that finger moving. And Wendy was doing a lot too. And now Wendy has told Cookie that Monique doesn't like her. So y'all, this was a good episode. I'm going to have to give it an 8. They didn't have a trip. They didn't go anywhere. It was just a series of dinners, lunches. She said, couple of husbands sprinkled in. And that was about it. But it was well worth watching. It was funny. I'll give it an 8. But Cookie as a socialite, I think I've seen everything. Cookie going to have to tone it down. And I'm sorry, when Grand Dame gets back out and starts to get sprinkled back on the show, you give it a 9? Yeah, it was really good. It was a really good episode. I don't think Karen is going to claim Cookie as such a close friend. Karen is using Cookie because she's in jail, or she was in jail, and I think Cookie's the type to know how to put monies on the books and stuff. I don't want to be too stereotypical about Cookie. I don't want to do that. But just there were things I saw in Cookie that I didn't care for. I don't think belongs in that group, because I thought Cookie was going to catch hold of Stacy, and all they were doing was talking. If a person's lying, if whatever, that doesn't matter. If somebody's finger is doing this, Dr. Wendy's doing this, you didn't threaten to hit her. And Cookie said, you don't do that. You put your finger down and all this kind of stuff. That's a little too much. Gizelle, what are you going to say? Because Monique's supposed to be the only one pulling wigs around there. And Cookie looked like she was activated. So I'm anxious to see where this goes next week, y'all. This was a good episode. Sharon gave it a 9. I gave it an 8. So it's got a high B+. We'll give it a B+. But y'all, that was the episode. That was season 10, episode 8, Pride and Pettiness. It was really good. Thank you all for joining me during the live. Those of you who did not, if you will be team replay, click the like button. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Everybody, thank you so much, and I will see you in the YouTube streets. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.